Hello, it's Brendan from TechBuzz. Today we've got a Mangoal. First thing is you look at the box there, it doesn't tell us a huge amount of anything. It's actually a dash cam, but we'll give it a bit more thing. The box does a clever job of not actually giving you any information. It just tells you a little bit of stuff there, but nothing really of relevance to say what the spec of the product is or what's the situation. The one thing I suppose to note in the box is, given the model MG-006C-1BA, not too relevant. This is fit for a universal dash cam. That's probably the key on this particular one. I'm going to make a variety of different dash cams, and they actually tailor directly for the specific car. So depending on the vehicle, you can go with, you can actually pick one specifically for them. So they've been kind enough to actually send us on a universal fish. So that basically is this will fit. I suppose most of us are used to putting the dash cam up and just shoving it up in the front windscreen and sticking it into a cigarette lighter, for example, and it works. This is a bit more specialized in terms of what they've actually done. And I'll give you just a quick overview. This is what you end up getting here at the moment, and I will walk through it there at the moment. This is the power cable, and this is the rear camera. And that's kind of incessant. You get a tool and you get a few other bits, obviously the manuals, etc. But in essence, what you're actually getting is, within the features, is built-in Wi-Fi, G-Center built in, video rotate, G-Sensor parking, time-lapse parking mode, Novatech processor, and Sony sensor inbuilt into it. 4K Ultra, 30 frames per second, which is actually quite good. We're all used to 4K on our TVs. The 30 frames is just to stream the refresh rate there itself. 150 viewing angle, wide angle viewing angle, so basically you'll see a lot of the viewing, and obviously loop cycle as well in terms of split recording mode. It comes with, you can go to up to 256 gigabyte class 10 SD card. Now, one thing I'll always say is, if you ever get an SD card, always go for a good quality one. Lucky enough, they've actually supplied an SD card there, which is a 128 gigabyte. Doesn't really matter the size in terms, because all it'll do is loop it. So if I had a 256, it'll just record more information, and when that's done, instead of getting a day or a week, it'll just overwrite it, recording it there, etc. on that. So that's quite important, and that just fits directly into thing. So you see the TFT slot, so the card just goes directly into there. On the unit itself, you just got a power button, and you've got just a camera snap on. Typically, this will actually fit under your windscreen mirror, for example. It'll connect it, and what you'll find is, this is the power cable here, and a lot of times what we do is we'd have a USB-C cable, or we'd have it directly a cigarette lighter. This goes directly to the ODB. So the ODB is where the car diagnostics is plugged in directly. So it just gets in there, plugs into the power. You only plug in one at a time, so it's not there, so it's kind of going, and then all you do is you run the cable from there directly up to this, and this will plug in directly on your car. So you have this there. What you've also got is a rear camera, and again, the rear camera is just ran, and this just plugged into another cable. So we just plug that in. So in theory, put this in the front of the car, looking at the front. Put this at the back, so you're actually looking at the back, and plug this into the ODB, and directly, and that's your power. In essence, that is it. They have supplied us with a little tool there for removing the trim. We will give you a quick demo of the trim, how to fitting it there at the moment in the back of the car. As always, safety is always paramount. If you're planning of doing this yourself, very important to be very conscious of. A lot of modern cars will have airbags on side panels. They'll have a variety of things there. Any of the cable wiring, just ensure it's safely tucked in away. You don't have to, I suppose, go completely mad with putting it, but this tool is designed to actually let you fit it in at the back of the rim itself. I'll give you a demo of those particular things there. And that's a kind of a quick over snapshot of the unit itself there, and everything that does comes in there. So in theory, once that's plugged in, I should be able to drive without thing. Once I have it set up, then I can configure, download an app, and the app will basically allow me to basically review it, playback, etc., etc., but we'll also set that up there and give a demo as well. Camera is now connected directly, so what I'm seeing is the front camera, which is front camera here at the moment. I can then swap over to the back camera, and that's showing my back view from there, and that gives you an idea of the different pictures. Obviously what you can also do then is you can turn it around so you can get a better, clearer picture there, and within there itself you can put it back in and you can refer it back. If I want to take a pic, move back to the front, just go back forward again. I can see the front. If I want to take a snapshot of that, and there is a snapshot of the picture. So this is the things I can do within the software itself. And if I'm going into an area I don't want to record, I can actually turn the camera off. So if I was going into a pharmaceutical company, for example, car park, where you weren't allowed to record, or NCT, for example, test center, where they say you can't record, I could just turn the camera off recording there. Or if it's something I want to spot, I can take a picture. As I'm going on, this will actually record. So I could drive with this as it is at the moment, but it wouldn't be practical, you know what I mean? But for setting up, you definitely need to do this, set it up so you can figure out what you're doing. In terms of the camera file, this is actually stopping my camera, and this is showing different recordings that I've actually done in the past. So now I can scroll down along and just see some of the details I've recorded in the past, and it gives me an idea of the different footage I've gone. Most of these are example 1 minute long, so if I just pick on a random one there, it's kind of giving me an idea of a vehicle I was actually following there. And looking at the same thing there, it's the exact same picture, but actually on this occasion I'm doing it from behind. Now what you can also do is I can swap that around and I can actually get a better view of it going. So now I'm looking at the rear windscreen of it rather than the front, and that just gives me an idea of what's going on. And you'll notice the timer is 1 minute. The date and time stamp is also on that, and that's actually the rear view, which is quite good. And put it back up again for ease. We can just go back. Now depending on how you want to do it, you can have it going, and we can pause it. Probably more importantly when we're doing this as well, is one of the things you might want to do is you want to download it or take a snapshot of that. So I can download this particular one here, and what you see it's doing an idea. So it's actually downloading the picture size itself while it's downloading, so it's basically saying it's not recording, it's not doing anything while I'm actually downloading it. And I can download, so if I had an accident it will actually automatically save it. If I didn't have an accident, or I just wanted to keep it for future reference, it's downloaded. And that's done. And I can stay going along, and we go back out there, and we can scroll down along to different things we've seen there. And that's in a nutshell. Obviously there's different photos, there's different areas we can do. You've heard it start recording there now, because once I'm downloading information it won't allow me to record it. So if I'm doing something else, it will actually stop doing it itself. In terms of the camera settings, photo resolution, we can do that there. Speaker volume, video resolution, so I can change the video resolution to whatever I want. 2K. And I'm kind of going down through the different options. Possibly the higher recording is better, but it will overwrite itself, so it depends. I can have the time and date stamp there at the moment. Collision sensor, same thing there at the moment, and there's lots of other functionality I can have. And I suppose the one thing you would, and the photo resolution is 12 megapixel. Speaker volume is there. Sound recording is telling me what you've heard a few moments ago in terms of it talked to you to say it's recording. I have the ignition switched on here so you can hear the engine noise of the car as well. But in reality is once I'm there, it's connected, it's working there, so I can have it there and I can go back through the details of the camera file itself. And that gives you an overview of the setup. So the wiring is quite easy in terms of there's no cables visual. ODB, you can't really see it, but it's typically on the bottom there, and the wiring is run up along the side through the vehicle. As always, one of the cautions things is to work out with the airbags in the vehicle. The airbags could cause a problem, so the last thing you want to do is have cables running across. From a DIY point of view, anybody who's reasonably handy with a car, any sort of wiring is thing. This, once it's fitted, will not be taken back down. And again, I've got the camera button there, I've got the other power button there, and on the other side there's the SD card. The SD card was actually supplied with the unit itself. And from the outside you don't really notice it much, and then there's a camera at the back. So from the original setup, it's quite important to, when you're setting it up itself, have it connected with the software, because the software allows you to see camera configuration up, down, left, right, or wherever it is, and that's more or less centered in there. Obviously cleaning the glass is no harm, and also don't do it in a frosty day, because that'll actually, it could fall off, and it's just normal practice, etc., and being conscious of it there. The installation is worth noting that, just going back to the manual there, this has a front and rear facing camera. So part of there has the camera in front, but you've also got the rear facing camera there. Obviously the front one is a 4K camera, the other one is a 2K for the reverse, and it's got the GPRS function. It's got different styles of what you're actually designing it for. So the whole 4K resolution for day and night quality is there as well, and it's the dual channel recording at all stages itself. The one thing to flag as well, this particular model is fits for universal things there. So when you have, for example, the unit itself, and you've connected the SkyCamm app. At the moment, if I was sitting in the car, this is where I connect it, and it's got my album for some of the pictures I've downloaded. And so it's got more. The one thing is important in terms of the installation, in terms of this is for universal. So this shows that this can be wired specifically for a particular variety of cars. So I'm just scroll through these. My own car is a Skoda. It's not on this list, but I also drive a Mazda 6 also now and again. And I'm just going down to the Mazda 6, so it's got a variety of different models. When you go in there, well, it'll actually give you a tutorial of how to do it. This one here will actually show, the video is a bit slow loading, but I'm not worried from that. But it'll give you a tutorial to say, you take down the glove box, so the front light, remove the light, disconnect the wiring, and put in a separate wiring into it. The wiring itself will actually, that whole panel will come down for this Mazda 6, for example, so you can get specifically for the car, and you're just connecting the wires directly, and it's saving. In my case, what I actually did was, so that gives you an overall view of how a different car can be done. Just pause that. With me, what I did was, in years ago, I would have wired it directly to the car battery, put a relay in for the ignition to the wiring of the system. As things change ever so slightly, I might have wired to under the fuse box. Or a lot of more modern ones will actually have it directly to the cigarette lighter or a USB-C, for example, cable for the car, which all work. The query with the USB-C or the cigarette lighter, they're normally in the front console, so it makes the wiring an awful lot harder actually. So when this particular one is connected with the ODB, and the ODB, many people might be familiar when you go to the mechanic, and the first thing he does, he plugs one of these type gadgets into your car, gets the diagnostics and gives you a report. You're using the same function. This actually made life an awful lot easier for this installation, because it's actually under the steering wheel. So the cables I had to run were directly straight up along the panel, and I've showed you on the video, along the panel to the wiring. So the wiring is very tight. It also has the advantage of this won't be stolen. So your traditional car kits, dash cams can be just stuck up in the things. If anybody wants to break into your car, to just take it out, take everything out. This is hardwired to the front with the rear camera on the back, hardwired. Again, it's very important from my perspective to say you download the SkyCamm software, because by using the SkyCamm software, you can actually see where the camera is facing. So in other words, you want to make sure the reverse camera, this particular part can be twisted up and down on the thing, so you know where to actually do it. The same here, you can actually, when you're putting it, wiring it directly, having the view on your phone to say too high, too low, etc. Sticky pads sticking to them. So once it's on, it's kind of permanently on. Obviously, you could remove it if you really had to, but in reality, is you wouldn't be inclined to do it too often. You'd have to get new sticky pads. But that's the idea of it there, the installation there. The quality of it, I can't fault it actually in terms of day and night viewing. I've been using it. You could connect it to the during the day to actually put it to your phone, so when you're driving you can see it. Not really that practical. The app can be a bit sluggish at times, but when you go back into it, example, sitting in the car, you can download the video footage directly to the SD card, take the SD card out directly and plug it into your laptop, or what you can actually do is just download directly to your phone, whatever actually works. Obviously, if there's a collision, it goes into a safe mode of recording, so it's permanently there. My first impression when I got this out of the box was there was a lot of cable, there was a lot of wiring to be done with it. It's actually easier, believe it or not, than most others. If you're anyway DIY type scenario, because you don't have to be running cables across from the center console from your cigarette lighter, this is actually a lovely set of cables coming through. When you're wiring the back camera, well worth it if you can afford it within your budget to have the back camera included. Doesn't cost a huge amount more, a little bit more of an installation if you're DIY competent to do it. If you've got a specific car, as shown on the video tutorial of those particular models, it's on the website, there is a variety. It might be worth looking at getting a specifically model. And again, I stress, this one is for this universal dash cam. You can get ones, for example, I was just showing you a video clip of a Mazda 6. There is a load of other variety of models, and it might be worth talking to support. I like this product simply because once the installation is done, it's there. It's not going to be taken down in the evenings like other ones that I've had to remove if you're in certain areas there at the moment. It records front and back. The suspect is that most accidents, if somebody hits you from behind, they're in the wrong, and you've got the proof. You don't have any insurance queries or claims that people say it's a misconception as such. You can just go proof. This is what happened. This is the speed I was doing. This is the time it was done. From an insurance point of view, it's black and white, or in colour as the case with these, that you can actually very clearly see. In terms of quality, day and night, can't fault the quality. Very good quality. The app, a bit more dubious, but I think the setup wasn't bad in terms of the app, and it did actually connect, because you're connecting to an example like a Wi-Fi there. ODB, connecting from the power, works great. In terms of you plug it in, you do need to start the car for it. It does talk to you to say it's recording, but you can turn those functionalities off, and there's a lot of other functionalities in the app. Like this product, definitely a nice little product. There's a lot of them around at this stage, but I certainly would have no problem. This will be staying in my car for use and continue recording, etc. As always, thank you for watching Tech Buzz Ireland. This is the Mangoal DashCam. Thank you.